Take existent, it follows it has a definition.
What is the definition?
Take existent, it follows it has 5 other phenomena that are mutually inclusive with it.
What are they? Object of? Knowable object?
Ascertainable object, object, phenomenon, established base. Take these 6, it follows they're all mutually inclusive. Take these 6, it follows they have 2 divisions.
What are the 2 divisions of existence? Functional and non-thing.
Functional thing and non-thing. Take functional thing, it follows it has a definition. What is it? Take non-thing, it follows it has a definition. What is the definition of non-thing? That which is devoid of the capacity to function. Take non-thing, it follows it has 3 other phenomena that are mutually inclusive with it. What are they? Unproduced, uncompounded and permanent. Unconditioned and permanent. What are the definitions of uncompounded? Unconditioned, sorry.
That which is not fit to arise, cease and endure.
What is the definition of non-thing? You already said it. What is the definition of permanent? What is the definition of impermanent? Okay. What is the take functional thing? It follows it has 3 divisions. What are the divisions of functional thing? Okay. What is the definition of matter?
Matter?
What are the 3 divisions of functional thing?
No, divisions. Those are the ones that are mutually inclusive with it.
Matter, non-associated compositional factors.
Right.
Okay. What is it? So, what is the other phenomena that is mutually inclusive with matter? Material object. What is the definition of material object? What is the definition of matter? What is the definition of consciousness? It's okay, we haven't done it in the text. Take matter, it follows it has 4 divisions. What are the 4 divisions of matter?
What are the 4 divisions of matter loudly?
Outer, inner, mental. Right. What's the definition of external matter? The definition of external matter? What is the definition of internal matter? What does... Okay, so we don't know what included in a continuum means right now, right? We have to see that. Let's just let that be. Okay. Take external matter, it follows it has how many divisions?
What are the 5 divisions of external matter? Follow along, just follow along. Even if you haven't got it,
Just follow along with the with your hearing. Don't do it so much with the reading. Just let's get into the habit of hearing it like that, yeah? What are the 5 divisions of external matter?
what are the 5 divisions of external?
Visible objects, sound, smell, taste, and tactility.
Perfect.
Take visual form. It follows it has a definition. What is it? Take visible form. It has divisions. How many? What are the 2 divisions of visual form? Shape and color. Great. What's the definition of shape? Color. Did I say shape? Sorry. My mistake. What is the definition of color? Take color. It follows it has divisions. How many? Which? Primary and secondary. What are the divisions of... What is the definition of primary color? Great. What are the divisions of primary color? What are the divisions of secondary color?
Cloud, mist.
Great. What are the divisions of shape? Short, let's say them so that everyone hears it one by one, yeah? Short, long, square, round, high, low, even, uneven, okay? Take, this is visual form, take sound, it follows, it has a definition. What is the definition of sound? What are the, how many divisions does sound have? What are the two divisions of sound? Conjoined, arisen from the elements conjoined with consciousness, arisen from the elements not conjoined with consciousness, right? What are the divisions of each? How many does each one have? What are they? Pleasant, unpleasant. For arisen from the elements conjoined with consciousness, pleasant, unpleasant. Then loud, no. Irritating, no. What is it? Remember, pleasant which has meaning, pleasant which doesn't have meaning. Unpleasant which has meaning, unpleasant which doesn't have meaning. Yeah? These are also the definitions of sound arisen from the elements not conjoined with consciousness, pleasant with meaning, pleasant without meaning. Yeah? 4. So how many divisions are there in all of sound? 8. Take smell, it follows, it has a definition. What is the definition of smell? What are the divisions of smell? Pleasant, unpleasant, which are then further divided into uniform and not. We have no idea what that really means. Okay, fine. Then take sound, smell, taste. It follows, it has a definition. What is it? Tongue consciousness. What are the divisions of taste? Sweet, sour, salty, pungent, astringent,
Bitter. And I think we've done that. Sweet, sour, salty.
pungent, bitter, astringent. Yeah. Take last one. Take tactility base. It follows. It has a definition. What is the definition? Object perceived by body consciousness. What are the divisions of tactility bases? Primary and caused by primary. How many divisions are there for the primary? 4. Earth, wind, fire, water, air. No, that's 5. Earth. What are the divisions of the tactility bases that are arisen from the elements? The divisions arisen from these 4. Hunger, thirst. Cold. Smoothness, roughness. Lightness, heaviness. It's fine, it's fine. What is the definition of earth? What is the definition of fire? What's the definition of air? What's the definition of, what was left? Water. Great, great. Take internal matter, it follows, it has a definition. What's the definition of internal matter?
Definition. Is that not clear in the definition?
It's clear in the sense of that is a specific prominent condition of each of the
Yeah. So if you were to extrapolate of the sense of one of the sense consciousnesses, right? Yeah. Yeah. No.
Of internal matter. Internal matter.
Internal matter is not on that sheet.
Yeah, so
Remember how there is internal eye sense faculty, which is, what is the definition of internal eye sense faculty?
clear internal sense of
specific dominant condition, I consciousness, which is its result. So if you were to extrapolate the definition of the generic one, that, what would it be? Of one of the sense consciousnesses, right? Instead of saying I sense consciousness, you'd say of one of the sense consciousnesses and is, of one of the consciousnesses and is its result. That's it. If you wanted to give a general one for one of them, all five, yeah? Okay? What are the divisions? You can... You'll know it by just having done all five. You'll know it. So you're going to do all. What are the divisions of internal matter? Eye sense faculty, ear sense faculty, nose sense faculty, tongue sense faculty, body sense faculty. What's the definition of body sense faculty?
There you go.
And this is just across the board, right? Of all five. The text said, know the rest similarly or something like that, didn't it? Yeah? Tujhe? So, it's okay if you don't, if you don't write it, it's fine, but that clear internal sense organ, that is the specific dominant condition of the consciousnesses, of one of the consciousnesses, which are its result. It'll just be that. You're just trying to give a larger one. Yeah?
Inner physical form is a synonym of sense faculty.
Of one of the sense faculties, yeah. So the sense faculties, but not sense faculty. Because then there's also mental sense faculty. So there's a little bit of this confusion, which is sense faculty to us sounds like it's just sensory. So there's eye sense faculty, ear sense faculty. Then there's something known as mental sense faculty, which comes up later. Yeah, so that is the definition of sense faculty. That's what I'm saying. So sense faculties are not limited to the senses. Yeah, there's also this mental sense faculty. But that's not matter, so that comes up later. Is that okay? It's consciousness, yeah. Yeah, is used for this, no? That's why I said the word organ in our text is referring to the sense faculty. What we refer to as organ, we will find as base over here. In Tibetan it's called ten, which is the base of, and it's called base because it is the base where the sense faculty resides.
The eyeball. Yeah, exactly. Okay? Yeah?
Just to be clear, please. So we just replace sense organ by the organ. So I would say the clear internal eye organ or eye faculty that acts as specific dominant condition.
As opposed to?
Replaces in the second one, which says unconscious.
Replaces by the ear organ. The ear organ.
Yeah, exactly. So eye gets replaced by ear gets replaced by nose, like that. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, so that's fine, you're done with that. Let's just go a little bit ahead. This non-associated formative factors. Why were we calling them something else? But then on page 10, it's now translated as non-associated formative factors. There's a bit of an issue in this text. One of the various criticisms, if at all there are, that has been received is there's not much consistency with the terms, even amongst the volumes. Like the volume 1 was translated by someone, volume 2 has been translated by someone else, and there's no terminological consistency. So it's a little misleading. Yeah, but you're all stressing out, so it's not helping. That's So non-associated, formative, conditional, right? So conditioning, my mistake, sorry. Yeah?
With regard to internal physical form,
Huh?
with regard to internal physical form,
Yeah.
can we really extrapolate its definition?
Yeah?
But if we can, then it could be the one definition, a clear that which acts the basis of one of the sense organs, the one you said.
Consciousness.
Yeah. Or it could be also something which is materially established and is not included within the continuum of a mind, of a person.
Internal. Internal is. It won't, because your body is not. Your body is included within your continuum, but it's not an internal sense faculty. It's not a sense faculty.
That's one way to extrapolate this.
But it's not
External as objective to internal.
No, it's not.
No, because if it is included within your mind stream, it doesn't, if it is atomically established and included within your mind stream, in a continuum of a person, it doesn't follow it as a sense faculty. For instance, your body. No, it's body sense faculty, remember? That's why you say body sense faculty. I sense faculty. No, he was asking if you were to give as a definition of internal matter just that which is atomically established and included within the continuum of a person, then your body, which is atomically established and is included in the continuum of a person, would end up fulfilling the definition of sense faculty. But it is not a sense faculty. That's why there's that clear. Remember, the reason why it says clear and specific dominant condition is to exclude your body, your teeth, maybe teeth is not the right example, gums, yeah? Stuff like that.
Person and a person different?
Of course. Let's do what continuum means right now. Yeah? So
Included within the continuum just means, so it's kind of like this. You'll do it when we do causes later. There's something known, for some of you must have already heard this term, there's something, I think we translate it as ripening causes? Ripening results. Have you ever heard of this term? Yeah? Are you all familiar with this term? Can you please tell me who's not familiar with it? Okay, great, good, thank you. Please tell me right away. So basically, the idea that the way the Buddhists explain it is that there's certain things that you carry with you till you die, right? So life or death is when your body and your mind are no longer together. The reason why your body and your mind are together is because they are propelled or held together for a fixed duration because of some karma, which is a ripening cause. So your body and your mind are ripened effects because they are held together. So within the continuum of a person means that it is included within what a person consists of, because it has been created or arisen from a ripening cause. So this mic can break and cease to be a mic before I die. It's not included in my continuum. The things that remain with me, or the things that have been created by the same cause, those are all included within my continuum. So essentially, all my physical and my mental aggregates are included in my continuum because the cause that made me arise, or the causes that made me arise, are also the causes that made my body and my mind arise. So the technical thing is that the fully ripened effects, or the effects of maturation also, I think sometimes people translate it as. Those, yeah? That's how they translate it, right? Yeah. Those are all included within a person's continuum. Everything that is not is outside. That's why if you rub your body, you feel it. Whereas if you rub a table, you don't feel it. That's kind of the idea. Yeah? That's all it means. Yeah?
But the specific cause.
So I think you have it here.
Let me make sure that we're giving it the right term, otherwise again we'll get confused. Where's the glossary here?
Aren't there parts of the body though that don't have to remain?
So then there's a debate whether your nails, etc., etc. Yeah, that's there. Yeah. Ripened, I'm trying to see, maybe ripened, it's here, or RS. No, so here it's not translated as ripened. Fully, I don't know. It's not translated as fully, I don't know what it's translated as in the book. So there's ripened effects and ripening causes. or sometimes someone translated as effects of maturation. That's also how they're called. Yeah?
Yeah.
I have one.
Yeah.
In material forms derived from the primary elements, cold is included, but why not heat?
Because heat is in the primary elements.
Fire does not provide heat.
Fire is giving heat, but it's in the primary. That which is hot and burning, no? So it's already there. It's there in the primary ones. That's what it says, yeah? That, yeah, it is. Yeah.
So it sounds like a really good debate whether the body is outer physical faculty or internal sense faculty.
It's not sense faculty.
Outer physical form or internal physical
So
form.
the bases are often called chinangikya, internal external. Sometimes they're called internal external as a term later. So they're included within your continuum, but they're not called out, so they're not outer. They're not clear, so they're not inner. So that what you call, the way it's called, the term that you find in the text is outer and inner. Yeah?
The aggregates considered phenomena?
Everything is phenomena.
How can you ask that question? What's the definition of phenomena? What's the definition of phenomena? One sec. What's the definition of phenomena? Take a person, it follows it as a phenomenon. So that thing that you're talking about is not Dudra language. Yeah? Okay? Yeah. Can we do non-associated? Now what is it? Conditioning, formative. Yeah? For what? You decide. What do you prefer?
Yeah.
Condition.
You've written conditions, so let's just stay with
But
conditions.
you see how suddenly it's non-associated formative. And then there's also non-associated compositional, which is another way that it's translated. Not in this text. They're all the same thing. They're all the same thing. Not only are they the same thing, they're just different translations of the same word. Yeah? Yeah. So they're not like impermanent and product, which are mutually inclusive. They're literally different translations of the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. So that's, yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So just remember that. I don't know, that's unfortunate. That is one. There's a very nice review, if you want to read it, by this professor at Oxford called Jan Westerhoff, who's written a review on these series. And he says, if you want to understand generally how this series has been conceived of and what it's made of and what's in each volume, you can read his article. In that, one of his concerns is the lack of terminological consistency. So for a beginner, already it's hard to get familiar with this, on top of which, if then there is some terminological inconsistency, it makes it a little bit harder. So I'll try and help you navigate it, and you'll have to just either go and complain to Wisdom Publications and have a new edition printed. No, it's not Wisdom, sorry. Simon and Shushta, yeah. Or just get familiar with it, yeah?
Okay.
Or focus on the meanings.
Yeah, you
Are really, of all people, not allowed to say that, because you're obsessed with the terminology. Okay, so here we go. The definition is on the second paragraph, so we're on page 141. Non-associated formative factors, which are now non-associated conditioning factors, which you in your unconscious are aware that it could also be called non-associated compositional factors. Okay? So, we're going with this. So the definition is, in the second paragraph, conditioned phenomena that are neither material form nor consciousness. Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm still having a doubt.
About?
Not, if I call it non-associated formative factor, because for me, for some reason, there's a familiarity. It's I'm okay. I'm
For me, I'm totally fine.
For your classmates, they might not appreciate your differences, but that's okay. You yeah. So I think the advantage of having it in different terms is just you're just more elastic when you're reading. But please do try and remember, if you, because there being a glossary is an advantage, because if you go back and you see non-associated and, right, and here non-associated formative factors, you'll see demin duce, also non-associated conditioning factors. So every now and then, if you find a term in this text and you're confused, go look at the glossary at the end, and then it might help you understand why it's being called different things. So here the two terms that the authors themselves are saying is, so page 474, if you look at page 474, right at the end, non-associated formative factors. And it says also non-associated conditioning factors. Now, to make it better, abbreviated as factors. Right? So it's going to, that's how it is. That's why I said, as you get familiar with debate, you'll start using abbreviations for like efficiency in communication. Okay? So the definition is conditioned phenomena that are neither form, material form, nor consciousness. They are called non-associated formative factors, since they are the aggregate of formation that is not concomitant with the mind. Instances include the three characteristics of arising, disintegrating, and enduring of a vase in terms of time in terms of years, months, and days, persons, propensities, things, impermanence, functions such as a vase holding water, and directions such as east, south, west, and north. Okay? There's a long explanation over here of many pages and many examples. Yeah?
The third paragraph
Yeah.
says the non-endurance of the vase in the second moment.
That's okay.
So the arising, enduring, and disintegration doesn't happen.
Why are you asking about when it's happening? It just says disintegration, arising, and enduring of vase, right? That's all. This is an example of non-associative composition fact. Where it is, when it is another issue altogether. Yeah? Is that okay? So where it is, when it is something that we're not concerned with at all. That's not part of what we're checking. Okay? Yeah? These are your examples. Now if you go ahead, don't go ahead, but I'm just saying if you do read later, you'll get, there's an interesting section over here on page 143 where they talk about life or life force. And they go on for like 4 pages. Yeah? And then they go on talking about various different presentations, because words, sentences, and I think letters have been listed here as non-associated conditioning factors, but then it specifies that this is according to the Vaibhashikas, and if for the South Tantrikas this is sound, because earlier we had spoken of them. So there's a lot of debates that are going to be going on here according to different schools. We're only concerned with understanding the definition and the illustrations that have been given. That's what we're going to use. Okay? So the definition is condition. What is the definition of non-associated conditioning factors? No consciousness. And the examples are, so they're divided into, never mind, forget that. Their instances are arising, disintegrating, enduring of a vase, for example, or time in terms of years, so 1 year, 1 month, 1 day. Those are all non-associated conditioning factors. Persons, propensities. Propensities is another way to translate imprint. You know how we say imprints? That's a non-associated conditioning factor. Impermanence. So these are all non-associated conditioning factors. And then functions such as a vase holding water, directions such as east, south, west, north, and so on. Yeah? Then, just carrying on. The arising, enduring, and disintegrating of a vase refers to, for example, the new arising of a vase that did not exist before, the vase enduring in its own time, and the non-endurance of the vase in the second moment, in the aftermath of its own temporal existence. Now, why are these not form and not consciousness? That's the important part. This is what we need to know here. Since these characteristics are effects produced by the same single collection of causes that gave rise to the vase, they too are conditioned phenomena. Now, if these three characteristics were material form, there is no way other than for them to be the material form of the vase itself. However, they do not constitute the material form of the vase, nor are they forms of consciousness. Hence, they must be posited as attributes of the vase and are therefore non-associated formative factors. The topic of time, year, month will be addressed below. Now again, why are persons being called non-associated conditioning factors? As for persons, it is a phenomenon imputed on 4 or 5 aggregates. Given that all three, material form, consciousness, and non-associated formative factors are the basis for the designation of the term person, it would be difficult to posit the person as either material form or consciousness. Yes? Hence, non-associated formative factors is the only viable candidate. The topic of persons too shall be discussed in a later section. Yeah? Now, the important thing here, which is not being directly specified, yes, is that non-associated conditioning factors are somehow qualities of either form or consciousness, or in the sense that they have to be verified on either form or consciousness, on material form or consciousness, but they themselves are not material form or consciousness. And a good example is person, and another good example is imprints.
Would this be attributes or qualities?
So again, the English is so subjective. Let's just say neither of those. It is a phenomenon that requires either matter or consciousness as a base. Let's use the word base for now. Yeah? Okay? So if I say, like for instance, right now, none of you are thinking of, I don't know, what's one song that all of us know? Is there some song that all human beings know?
Yeah, Let It Be, okay, by the Beatles, for example, right?
But if you started to think about Let It Be, all of you would be able to think it, right? And you'd be able to hum it, or you'd be able to mentally recollect it. So when you're recollecting it, then you have a consciousness that is thinking of the song, right? Right now you're not thinking of the song, but the fact that later you can is because you have an imprint of that has been laid by familiarity. Now that imprint is not consciousness, because if it was thinking of Let It Be, if it was a consciousness that is thinking of the song, it has to be actively doing that. So it's in a latent state. That's why it can't be consciousness. Okay? It's not matter because it's got nothing to do with matter. So it is, however, the cause of you being able to sing the song later, think of the song later. It is the effect of you having heard it and then sung it many times. So it is a effect, it is a cause, it is changing, it is impermanent, but it is not your consciousness because it's not actively thinking of the song, and it's not matter because it's got nothing to do with matter. So it's a non-associated conditioning factor, the imprint, yeah? But it has to have a base which is consciousness in this case, right? Similarly, the disintegration, when you say the disintegration of a pot, or the abiding, enduring of a pot, that abiding is not the physical matter. It's not consciousness, but it's tied to the physical base matter. We're just reading what the text says, huh? I have no responsibility over here yet. When you challenge me, I'll be responsible, but right now, no. Okay? Yeah.
Being latent necessitated not being mental.
What?
You said that because it's latent, it's not mental.
Yeah, it's not manifest. That's why it's not mental.
Couldn't there be things that are implicit in our consciousness?
Imprint.
No, that are mind, that are
Like what?
the subconscious.
But the subconscious is mind, but when you're talking about subconscious, again, now careful of the terminology that you use. Are you using subconscious as a separate strata of mind? So the Buddhists don't talk about it like that. So don't confuse the terms. If you're saying subconscious, unconscious, and the conscious mind, and you're referring to three separate layers of mind, that doesn't exist according to this system. So you can't speak of a subconscious mind that is distinct from mental consciousness. You can try and interpret that and reconcile it with the understanding of consciousness here, mental consciousness. But if you're bringing in another concept, then it's not fitting in this scheme. That's not to say that it's not right, but if you start reflecting on that and it doesn't fit here, then you're stuck, right? So be careful of how you use or borrow concepts from outside when you're debating within a scheme. Again, I repeat, when you're debating within a scheme, yeah? Because within this scheme, that's a non-existent, okay? If you go to Yogacara, maybe it could work. But right now, it's a non-thing. It doesn't exist, okay? Yeah.
Now again, the word
Memory, I don't know, you go and read some, what exactly does memory refer to? I wouldn't know. If you ask me what memory is, in our text, what we translate as memory is a mind that is recollecting something. So then it's consciousness, because it's an active recollection of something. What allows it to do the recollection is because there has been an imprint. So again, if the English word memory refers to the recollection, then it's consciousness. If it refers to what allows for the recollection, which is somehow latent and not manifest right now, then it's an imprint. But I don't know in the English what the word memory exactly refers to. In text, when you find it translated, it's a translation of recollection. Okay? In Buddhist literature, recollection gets translated as memory. Okay?
But in the text it says formation that is not concomitant with the mind.
Yeah, so that has to be explained. Not concomitant with the mind is something that we still have to explain. But it doesn't mean that it is not resting in the mind or abiding in the mind. That's not what not concomitant means.
So it is not concomitant with the active mind. We could say when the mind is
Which one are you thinking about?
it's the second paragraph.
Yeah.
It says they are called non-associated formative factors since they are the aggregate of formation that is not concomitant with the
Not
mind.
concomitant with the mind over here, no? So can I just look at the Tibetan and get back to you again? Because I think not concomitant with the mind over here just means that it's not mind.
So imprint is not concomitant with the mind.
Of course, if it's saying here that an imprint is a non-associated formative factor, it's not concomitant with the mind. Yeah? Yeah, let's just figure that one out, yeah? Okay? Yeah, of course.
It starts with ASA base or definition of
Non-associated.
yes. So we said ASA base, either base or.
No, it's here. It's just this one, Martin. Conditioned phenomena that are neither material form nor consciousness. In the... What do you call these in English? Quotes, thank you. Quotation marks, yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
If it is a potential, it follows it is necessarily an imprint?
Are you doing a Madhyamika debate? No, but generally yes. No, potential and imprint, why? Yeah, potential and imprint, why? Yeah. So potential is anything that can do something. So the seed's potential to produce a sprout is also potential, like that, yeah? Okay? Yes.
Did you say earlier that this type of form, so the non-associated, that they cease at death? They don't go on because it's formed?
No. That was the ones that are included in a continuum, the meaning of being included in a person's continuum. I think you're... haven't understood what you're connecting. The non-associated formative factors are a different category from those which are included in your mind stream. Some can be included in your mind stream, not all of them have to be included in your mind stream. The discussion of ending at death is a question of whether it is included in your mind stream or not.
Okay, I think you just said that, but you're saying some of these are included in the mind stream, so they would go on, and some are not.
Person's continuum, sorry, not mind stream, person's continuum, yeah? Some of them are included in a person's continuum, yeah. Person, for instance, right? A person is included in a person's continuum. Or the impermanence of your body, the impermanence of your mind, the imprints on your mind. Many of these things can be, what was it called over there? So this ripened effect or the fully matured effect. You can have some that are non-associated formative factors. But why I'm slightly hesitant to say anything is because I have a feeling you're somehow equating or you're taking the discussion of non-associated formative factors as somehow being related or connected with that discussion of ending at death. There's no connection between these two. You can do, are they inclusive, exclusive, do they have 3 possibilities, 4 possibilities, but in the discussion on non-associated formative factors, that doesn't come in. Is that okay? So that's what I'm trying to understand, why you brought this up.
It's just imprints, because I'm just stuck on what types of imprints go on with us.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, so, but then, yeah, so then that's a separate discussion altogether. Then that is what is an imprint, which imprint is included within this life, what imprint is included within, that's another discussion, right? So, I think it'll, if it will come in the course, it'll have to come because you will want to debate it in the debate courtyard and you will wonder and debate it and then you will bring it up as a question and someone will find some sort of attempt at answering that. And I'll let that attempted answer be by either Gyan or Rinpoche. Abstain from that. Yeah, so all imprints are necessarily non-associated formative factors. Necessarily. Yeah? And it's just a process of elimination because they're not consciousness.
So in the 7, the division of 7 consciousnesses, like
One sec. There are no 7 consciousnesses. There's 6. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't mix systems. Yeah? This is 6. There's 8. And then there's another version of 1. Okay. The 7 divisions of consciousness in Lorik, yeah.
So where does an imprint, how does an imprint associate with that?
Nowhere, because those are consciousnesses. Yeah? I can see that you're intrigued by the imprint idea, and it's quite fascinating. But, okay, so 2 things. Okay, what do you want to know about imprint? I'll tell you what I know. Then, if there's more that you want to know, I'll leave it to the Gyan and Rinpoche.
It's just that, okay, we're guaranteed somewhat to, if we study hard with debate, we can get inferential
Yeah.
topics.
Yes.
And then, quite recently, I was told, I was under the impression that if you have that realization, that could go with you to your next life.
Yeah.
And then I guess she said, well, no, that's not enough. You have to have like a direct realization, so that it feels a little discouraging.
But see, now you put me in a real bit of a spot because the Geshe told you that. So you asked the Geshe.
And I really had a feeling there was something lost in translation.
Okay.
So no, it's obviously not that. It's obviously not that. Yeah. So this comes up. Okay. This comes in the next year. Don't worry. This discussion is central to the Pramana Vartika because the second chapter actually begins with this problem. And the problem over there is the doubt that the argument, okay, this is helpful just so that you know that next bit. The whole discussion of rebirth stems from the doubt that is similar to your doubt. And the doubt that is brought up, which is why Dharmakirti even discusses reincarnation. The doubt is, if you say that you need to generate great compassion that feels equally strongly about everyone without any discrimination, that needs a lot of work. If that needs a lot of work and I'm going to die soon, it's unlikely that this time around I'm going to have that great compassion. And when I die, it's done. So what's the point of developing great compassion? This is precisely the doubt that Dharmakirti brings up, in response to which he says, which means great compassion increases through familiarity. And to prove that great compassion increases through familiarity, he starts talking about reincarnation. And he says, so that's why if you said there's lost in translation, then I'm comfortable with the response. Not just great compassion, but even the realization of emptiness. Through familiarization, it gets stronger. When you die, because your continuum, your mind continues, those habits also continue. So if you've practiced great compassion in this life and you haven't attained it fully, when you die, it's not like you start from scratch next time. You carry that imprint, and then so you can cultivate it and make it stronger over lifetimes. So the necessity to prove lifetimes is in support of your concern, which is, of course, it carries on. So an inferential cognizer, if it has to be developed over 3 incalculable aeons, one incalculable aeon to become direct, either you're going to have to live for like 1,000,000 years, or in an 80-year lifespan. The only option that you have is that it carries over. So yes, 100%, some imprints carry over, others don't. So the ones that don't are the ones that are included within the continuum of this life. So those are the things that your actions of a previous life are going to make you experience in this life, and then they kind of end. The ones that carry over are not limited to this one. That's kind of the idea. So yes, of course, the imprints of inferential cognizers do carry on. Dharmakirti himself says it, so I don't have to be politically correct. Of course they do. Dharmakirti says it. I have proof. Yeah? Okay? That's what the discussion is. Yeah? Okay. Yeah?
No, very quick clarification. So the continuum of a person is physical and mental aggregate, so it's kind of outer physical phenomena and consciousness?
No, outer physical, no. It will be this, what we call our body or our sense faculties.
Oh, it's that in between.
Yes.
The one. Okay,
Yes.
but just to make the difference between continuum of a person and person clear. A person is non-associate conditional factor.
Person is non-associated and continuum is also going to be a non-associated compositional factor, but they're two separate things. Now, what is continuum? When we do the next chapter, which is causes and effects, then you get this whole idea of what a continuum is. Yeah? Okay? Things. What do you mean? Functional things. Yeah, but it's functional thing. Impermanent is a non-associated compositional, conditioning factor. Look, the text says impermanence. Yeah? Functioning things. So what are you going to say? How are you going to translate that?
Isn't there a paragraph on the next page which goes into examples of things?
What things? Yeah, no, that's the different kinds of things that can be impermanent. The thing here is functional thing. Yeah?
It's not a question of impermanence, it's a question of it being non-associated.
Just debate. Take thing, it follows it exists. It follows it is permanent. It follows it is impermanent. It follows it is non-associated formative factor. Because it fulfills the definition of non-associated formative factor. It fulfills the definition of non-associated formative factor because it is a conditioned phenomena that is neither material form nor consciousness. Yeah. What is it? No. Is it form or consciousness?
Both.
Which one is it?
I thought functioning is...
Which one is it?
What's that answer?
It's neither. Is there something that's both matter and consciousness?
No.
No. So it's neither matter nor consciousness? It follows, it fulfills the definition of non-associated formative factor. That's the idea here. Impermanent or impermanence or functional thingness, I guess if you wanted to do it in that language, are impermanent things, as so is disintegration, right? Disintegration, abiding are impermanent things. If you have to classify them in the scheme of phenomena, they are impermanent. But by themselves, like the text says, you can't say they are form, nor can you say they are consciousness. So they're a third category.
But I thought, are we talking about impermanence or things?
But they're inclusive.
I thought the three are divisions of things.
Where in the scheme is thing? And impermanence is a division of thing? Okay, and what's the difference between impermanent and impermanence? You said you don't care about the words, you care about the meaning. So now tell me, what is the difference between impermanent and impermanence? Okay, so what is impermanent? In the scheme of things, where does it fit?
It is the larger category.
Above what?
Above matter consciousness and non-associated conditions.
Great, and impermanence? Yeah, and so is impermanent. Take impermanent, it follows it is the larger category. Take impermanent, it follows it is a non-associated compositional factor because it fulfills the definition.
Why? Our reason to understand.
What is the definition?
That which is momentary.
No. The definition of non-associated conditioning factor. That conditioned phenomena that is neither physical form nor consciousness. Take impermanent, it follows it is a conditioned phenomena. It follows it is neither matter nor consciousness. No, it's the same thing. Get it? It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. Yeah, because when you say a pot is impermanent, you are saying a pot is something that disintegrates moment by moment, right? When you say the impermanence of a pot, you are talking about that quality of a pot disintegrating moment by moment. So you can't use the word impermanent without saying something is impermanent, because there you're using it as an adjective. When you're saying impermanence, you're using it as a noun, right? Again, question mark. You could use it in both ways. Okay? But impermanent and impermanence, in English, you can only speak of impermanent in relation to something else. Impermanence you can speak of by itself. Now, whether you speak of it in relation or by itself, if you have to say impermanent exists, you're going to have to fit it somewhere. And the only place you can fit it is in non-associated conditioning factor.
But impermanent is included in the list of those things that are mutually inclusive with functional thing.
Yeah, but so is, disintegration. All of these, here, look. One second.
Things, impermanent, persons, propensities. So, I see what your problem is. Okay. That's not really that much of a concern. Okay, that's totally fine. Take impermanence. Yeah, it follows it is not mutually inclusive with functional thing.
Except it follows it is a division of functional thing. That's what you're thinking, right? Because it is a non-associated compositional factor. That's what you're thinking. Okay. Take disintegrating. It follows it is not mutually inclusive with functional thing. If that's your reasoning, yeah, it follows it is mutually inclusive with functional thing. Because if it is a functional thing, it follows it is disintegrating, and if it is disintegrating, it follows it is a functional thing. What is the meaning of mutually inclusive? So tha, it follows it is mutually inclusive. Take disintegrating and functional thing, it follows they are mutually inclusive. Take disintegrating, it follows it is not mutually inclusive with functional thing. Because it is a division of functional thing.
Reason not established.
It follows it is a division of functional thing. Take disintegrating, it follows it is a division of functional thing. Disintegrating. It follows it is not mutually inclusive with functional thing. Because it is a division of functional thing.
No pervasion.
What no pervasion? There, fine, perfect. What no pervasion?
Just because it's a division of functional thing doesn't mean it's not mutually inclusive.
Take impermanence. It follows it can be both a division of functional thing and mutually inclusive with functional thing. That's precisely the point here. That's exactly the point that the text is making. This is an ambiguity that exists only in English. In Sanskrit and in Tibetan, when you're talking about the word that translates as impermanent or impermanence, it's the same. It's anitya or mitakpa. It doesn't change. It can be used as an adjective and as a noun both. Now in English, when you specify, so this is something that is unique to English debaters. If you were to go into a Tibetan context and have this issue, they would just look at you like with a vacant stare, or they'd be like, what are you saying? Because there is no distinction between the two. It's a linguistic distinction. Does that make sense? So when I say as opposed to non-linguistic distinction, when in Tibetan you don't have different words for this. You don't have different words for qualifying the impermanence of a pot or pot is impermanent. You use the same word in both cases. So when you refer to the thing by itself without tying it to a base, you can't make a distinction. So if I say mitakpa, in English it can be both impermanent and impermanence. In Tibetan, when I say the mitakpa of a pot, that gets translated in English as impermanence of a pot. Or if I say a pot is impermanent in Tibetan, then I say phumpa mitakpa yin. Pot is impermanent. That's how we get translated as impermanent. But in Tibetan, the term is the same. So where the issue lies is not when you're connecting it to something. Because if you're speaking of it as impermanence of pot, or a pot is impermanent, then there's a distinction, which is also there in the Tibetan. Over here, in the non-associated formative factors, you're talking about the thing in itself, which in English, you can't say impermanent. It doesn't make any sense. Got it? Because the word impermanent doesn't make any sense devoid of being an attribute to some base. It has to be attributed to something. Something is impermanent.
But then, to me, there's this sort of new debate, English kind of forming on the influence of Tibetan.
That's excellent.
No, where impermanent is said to be like a noun.
Yeah, but we've done the debate. Now you make sense of it. We've just done the debate. This is you are the trailblazer. As Nagarjuna was the trailblazer for the Madhyamakas, you are the trailblazer for this weird English debate, but now make sense of it. Because how are you going to say impermanence is a division, and that's the reason that you're giving for it not being mutually inclusive with functional thing, right? But now with disintegrating, you're being able to not make that distinction anymore. So why is one valid and not the other? Got it?
No.
Okay, take...
I followed it, but it's like if you asked me to repeat it, I wouldn't be able to grab it.
That's fine. That's fine. That doesn't matter. Okay? Yeah.
I feel like I still don't understand. So
I'll tell you.
Take a pot. Take a pot. It follows it is impermanent.
Except
It follows impermanence is a non-associative compositional.
impermanence now you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It follows a pot is a non-associative compositional.
Why? Because it is impermanent. Nice debate. No provision.
So just because it's impermanent
Doesn't follow it as a non-associated compositional factor. This is now going to be your new headache.
For all of you, it's not just like all of you are going to suffer profusely with this. Like I assure you, this is going to be very counterintuitive. But it's just going to come up because we're going to do definitions next, and when we do definitions, then you get clarity on this point. Yeah? We've already done this. I already told you this. For example, take impermanent. It follows it as a definiendum. Accept. Take impermanent, follows as a definiendum. You said accept. Now listen to this, huh? Take that which is hot and burning. It follows it as a definiendum because it is impermanent.
See? Got it?
Let him say it. Let him get there. It's loading right now. You can't say why. Firstly, you have to say either reason not established or no pervasion. Take that which is hot and burning, it follows it as a definiendum because it is impermanent.
I don't understand why I don't know, I know that's false, but I don't know how
You don't know how to break out of it, right?
That's fine. That's normal. In the beginning, that's very normal. That's extremely normal. This is the kind of thing that I was trying to tell you the other day where I was saying lemons are sour, but if it is a lemon, it doesn't have to be sour. There is a difference between this. Impermanent is a non-associated compositional factor, but if it is impermanent, it doesn't have to be a non-associated composition. That's what this is. This was your take and if, remember where this is coming from? Okay? You had your hands? Yes? We're never going to go ahead with the text. No more questions, please. Okay, please go ahead with the text. Okay, so done. Non-associated formative factors, done. Okay, no more discussions on this. Yes. No, not now. We're going to do something else. Okay? Just give me some time so like I can give you some stuff for debate. We can do a bit of practice in the afternoon and then we can move forward, okay? We'll do also debates with non-associated formative factors later in the day. But right now, let's just go ahead. So we're just skipping causes and effects now. And we're coming to chapter 13, 163. We'll do definition, definiendum, one, many. And then we'll go back to causes. Because this is going to help you get confused and hence have to debate more. That's kind of the point, okay? So here. So it's page 163, chapter 13, other presentations of ascertainable objects. Yes? Definitions, the defined, and their instances. So, when logicians engage in their quest for discovering the nature of reality as a means to understanding the ultimate truth, they utilize categories such as subject and predicate, thesis and proof. I do not know how you pronounce this. Definitions, and definiendum. I think definitions here is definitions. Can we just... Yeah? I'm sorry. It's definitions, okay? Yeah. And definiendum and so on as listed in the earlier in the citation from Dharmakirti's exposition of valid cognition. Yes? Such categories are identified on the basis of examining even a single object of knowledge from the perspective of its conventional level of reality. Since these categories are more closely related to the way in which the mind engages an object, in the classical text they are presented in the section on how a mind engages the object. Right? Here, however, to make it easier for beginners to engage such topics, we shall present them in the section on the objects of knowledge. To explain definitions and definiendum, so we're going to go with definitions and definiendum, as Maitreya's ornament to Mahayana Sutras says, there are three elements: definitions, definiendums, and the basis of the definition. Okay? So that the quote is, the Buddhas to help sentient beings gave perfect explanation by means of the distinction between the basis, the definition, and the definiendum. So the three elements are definiendum, which means that which is defined. This is not the definition of definiendum, okay? That which is defined, it's not the definition, it's just a meaning. Definiendum is that which is defined. Definition is that which defines, and the basis is that basis on which the definition is established. Yeah? So the example that the text gives, which is a vase or anything, is a basis for understanding the definition of object of knowledge. Okay? So you take a vase, you look for whether it is, what's the definition of object of knowledge? That which is? That which is? So you look at a vase and you see if it has that quality or that property of being something that is fit to be an object of awareness. Yeah? It's given a different definition now? Yeah. Okay. Again, see, that's just how it is. Okay? So that which is fit to be an object of awareness, you're looking for that, whether it has this quality. When you find this thing, which is that which is fit to be an object of awareness, then the vase acts as a base to illustrate the definition of object of knowledge, and then on that base you understand the definiendum object of knowledge. Yeah? That's how it works. Okay? So it's quite simple. It's like when you're learning new words or you're getting introduced to a concept, someone tells you, this is a cow, right? So you have that thing is the basis. You say, look, this is a cow, and then you give an explanation of why it's a cow, whatever the definition of cow might be, and then later on, whenever you see something that has those qualities, you remember that it is a cow, right? So you can recollect the definiendum because you find those characteristics in a certain base. It's how identification works. It's very simple, right? Similarly, when you're trying to identify the genus of a plant or of an animal, you look for certain specific characteristics. When you find it, you can say it belongs to this category or it has this class, right? Is that okay? So whenever you identify something new, it's because you find characteristics that were priorly non-existent, right? If you find something that fits in a certain category, you say, oh, I found this insect that belongs to that category because it has this characteristic. Yeah? So that's just how identification works. Yeah? That's all it's saying. Now, to elaborate, it is on the basis of knowing that a vase is fit to be an object of, unfortunately, cognition, but awareness, that one can understand a vase as being a knowable object. Yeah? That is to say, it is by means of that specific definition that a vase can illustrate an instance of knowledge, an instance of object of knowledge to someone's mind. Yeah? Okay. In general, there are many different usages of the term definition, such as the following examples: as a specific characteristic, such as heat in relation to fire, which is what distinguishes fire uniquely from other entities; as a general characteristic, such as impermanence in relation to fire, which is a characteristic shared in common by both fire and other conditioned things that are not fire; as a differentiating characteristic, such as the differentiations made on the basis of a single entity, for example, a vase, whereby it is characterized as impermanent on the basis of its exclusion of permanence, and characterized as product on the basis of its exclusion of non-product. Yeah? And then let's finish this. As a defining characteristic that eliminates dissimilar types, Mark, just pay attention to how it's saying it here. See how it's being translated? As a general characteristic such as impermanence. Right? And then the next one, as a differentiating characteristic such as the differentiations made on a base of a single entity. For example, a vase whereby it is characterized as impermanent. See how the use of impermanence and impermanent is being used differently. So just use this as material for generating your new trailblazing theory of English debate. But I'm just giving you, pay attention to these little things because that's where the distinctions will arise. Okay? It'll be the same in Tibetan. So now, that's why I'm asking you to take on this task. As a defining characteristic that eliminates dissimilar types, such as positing that which is capable of functioning as a bulbous, flat-paced water pourer as the definition of a vase. Such a definition eliminates the twin fault of non-pervasion and over-pervasion. We'll get into that later. and then as a defining characteristic that eliminates wrong conception, such as those that have been formulated as definitions for the purpose of eliminating doubt in one's mind. So in texts, you find the usage of the word definition in different contexts. That's all it's saying. Okay? So what you'll start noticing is there are terminological divisions and actual divisions. When you're talking about an actual thing, it is the strict technical usage of a certain term or word. When you're saying terminological, you use the same word, but in different contexts it means something else. Now, why is it so complicated? We don't know. But in the text, it is found like that. So because we're getting familiar with how to read texts later, it's explaining all the different situations where you might come across the word definition. And it can be in one of these. Strictly speaking, however, it carries on, from among those, the meaning of definition that is relevant in the context of our topic is principally the fourth. Okay? Namely, definition as defining characteristic that eliminates dissimilar types. One should know that definitions could also include definitions as defining characteristics that eliminates misconception as well. So if it's the fourth that we're talking about, when we're talking about definition of something, it has to eliminate the fault of non-pervasion and the fault of over-pervasion. Okay? Yeah? How are you going to make sense of this? If I said that which is hot and burning is the definition of candle flame, okay? It's not correct because there is one of the two faults. Why? Because whatever is a candle flame will be hot and burning, but whatever is hot and burning is not necessarily a candle flame. So the definition is vaster than the definiendum. So there is a fault of over-pervasion. It goes beyond defining that definition, that definiendum. Yeah? If it is the definition of a specific definiendum, it can only define that thing. Okay? Is that fine? Similarly, like the text already said, if, okay, so an example of not being that much. So the fault of under-pervasion, is that, yeah? Non-pervasion, right? Non-pervasion would be, for example, what would be what would be a fault of non-pervasion? If you were to, can you give me an example? Being defined as? Okay. That which is? Because? Yeah, why is it under pervasion? That is over pervasion. When a definition is larger than the definiendum, then the definition has the fault of over pervasion. If the definition of water was that which is wet and moistening and transparent, for example. Okay? If the definition of water was something that is wet, moistening and transparent, it is under-pervading because not all water has to be transparent. You can have murky water, you can have cloudy water, etc. Right? So a definition cannot define more than its own definiendum, and that definition cannot also have certain features that don't define all of those definiendums. Those are the two faults. Hot and burning as a definition of candle flame is over-pervasion. That definition has the fault of over-pervasion. That which is wet, moistening and clear is the fault of under-pervasion were it the definition of water. Yeah? Is that okay? That's why definitions and definiendums have to be mutually inclusive with each other. Now does that make sense? That's why if it is hot and burning, it follows it is fire. If it is fire, it has to follow it as hot and burning. The fault of over-pervasion and under-pervasion being eliminated can be attested by checking whether the two things are mutually inclusive. Is that okay? Yeah? debates later. Okay? Got it? Okay? Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay, now let's not stress about it too much now. Let's do a few debates just so that you get familiar with this, okay? So, leave it. Take that which is hot and burning. It follows it is the definition of fire. Take fire. It follows it is the definiendum of that which is hot and burning. Okay? So take that which is hot and burning. It follows it defines only fire. You have to say except. Okay? Yeah? Take fire. It follows it is defined only by the qualities hot and burning. Good. Take momentary. That which is momentary. It follows it is the definition of impermanent. Take impermanent. It follows it is the definiendum of that which is momentary. Except, now, take that which is arisen. It follows it is the definition of impermanent. Take impermanent. It follows it is not the definiendum of that which is arisen. It follows it is the definiendum of that which is arisen. Because it is a definiendum and it is mutually inclusive with that which is arisen. What no pervasion? Reason not established? Who said that? One sec. Take impermanent. It follows it is a definiendum. Yeah? It follows it is mutually inclusive with that which is arisen. Right? No, what no pervasion? So what no pervasion?
Because it is a definiendum and mutually inclusive doesn't mean that it is the definiendum
Of impermanent. Just great. Excellent.
I've heard one answer. Have you all got the no pervasion? Have you all got it? Yeah? No? No? I'm going to ask it again. If two things are mutually inclusive, one is a definition and the other is a definiendum, does it have to be the definition of that thing? It doesn't have to be, right? Okay, so then, apart from being mutually inclusive and mutually exclusive, they also have to have something else that makes something a definition, right? So what is the additional thing in hot and burning or in that which is momentary that makes it a definition only of impermanent and not of product? That's what we're trying to understand. Because that which is arisen is the definition of product. That which is momentary is the definition of impermanent. Impermanent is the definiendum of that which is momentary. Product is the definiendum of that which is arisen. All these four things are mutually inclusive with each other, however, right? Yes? That doesn't mean that just because they're mutually inclusive, they act as definitions and definiendums. Yeah? So the additional thing is, when we say it colloquially in debate, we say they have to be related as definition and definiendum, and then they have to be mutually inclusive. Now, what does it mean when you say they have to be related as definition and definiendum? Over here, now you can, there we go. On page 165, now you'll have your definition of definition and your definition of definiendum. Okay? This is now where it's going to start getting a little tricky, but this is also really helpful for one to debate. Okay? 165. In the third paragraph, the definition of definiendum is that which possesses all three properties of an imputed existent. Yeah? Okay? And the definition of definition, instead of using this strange Latin word which I can't pronounce, definiens. I know, but I don't know how to pronounce it well, so I'm going to stay with English. The definition of definition is that, at the next paragraph, is that which possesses the three properties of a referent existent.
Yeah?
It's going to come up. Okay? Is that okay? Have you got the definition and have you got the definitions of definiendum and the definitions of definition? Okay? You've got this? Without explaining this right now, do this debate. Do one with me. Okay? Without having looked at it, without having the definition right now, let's do a debate, and then when we read the definition, it might make sense to you. So, take impermanent, it follows it as a definiendum. Take impermanent, it follows it has a definition. What is the definition of impermanent? That which is momentary, okay? Now, take that which is momentary and impermanent. It follows them mutually inclusive. Take that which is impermanent and momentary. Take impermanent and that which is momentary. It follows them mutually inclusive. Huh? That which is momentary. What did you say? No, impermanent. Okay, got it? Impermanent and that, they're mutually inclusive, right? Now, take impermanent and the definition of impermanent. It follows the mutually inclusive. Good. This, okay, just as a starter, whoever has said except, you're all wrong. But the reason why you're wrong will become clear when you do the relations. That's why it's helpful to know this, okay? So, listen, if it is impermanent, it follows it is necessarily not the definition of impermanent. For example, if it is impermanent, it follows it is necessarily not the definition of impermanent. Why? For example? Good. See, it's good that you have these kind of inaccurate, incorrect, mistaken, faulty replies, which we need to now clarify. But we need to check, right? Okay. If it is if it is impermanent, it follows it is necessarily the definition of momentary? Of impermanent. For example, if it is, good, you're all getting stuck, I love it. If it is impermanent, it follows it is necessarily the definition of impermanent? For example, a pot. So you've given pot as an example for the second. He gave a pot as an example of the first. So there's something that's not sitting well, right? Let's try the third. If it is the definition of impermanent, it follows it is necessarily impermanent? Except? Yeah? Except? For example? Good. That's fine. We don't know anything right now. We're in a very dark room. We don't know what's happening. It's fine. Right? But now through the relations you have to shed light on what's going on, okay? If it is not impermanent, it follows it is necessarily the definition of impermanent. For example, what beautiful examples did you give? Sky, flower, horns of a rabbit, space, yeah, okay. Now the first one, take vase. It follows it is impermanent. Take vase. It follows it is the definition of impermanent. It follows it is the definition of impermanent because it is that which is momentary. The reason is established. Take vase. It follows it is the definition of impermanent. You old students, please don't answer. I know you know how to navigate these waters. New people. Take a vase. It follows it is the definition of impermanent. Why? Kai? Why? Why? Are you all wise? It follows it's not an example of both impermanent and definition of impermanent. Problematic? So it's not. Okay? Now, just coming back. Take a vase. It follows it is the definition of impermanent because it is that which is momentary. What no pervasion? No, say it. Verbalize it. Sure. Take vase, it follows it is the definition of impermanent because it is that which is momentary. If it is that which is momentary. It doesn't follow it is necessarily the definition of impermanent. Are you getting this? This is the tricky part, okay? So now, if it is impermanent, it follows it is necessarily not the definition of impermanent. If it is impermanent, it follows it is necessarily not the definition of impermanent. For example, of course, if it is impermanent, it follows it is necessarily not the definition of impermanent.
I still can't. I don't know how to answer that.
Okay?
Why?
For example, take a chair. It follows it is the definition of impermanent. It follows it is an example of both impermanent and definition of impermanent.
Why?
What did you say chair to? If it is impermanent, it follows it is not the definition of impermanent. You said why? And you gave a chair as an example. Is an example of?
Impermanent.
And definition of impermanence, I'm asking, right? Is there something that's both? Is there something that's both? Tricky, right? It's tricky, right? Good. Please write some relations. Yeah? What is the relation between, so just do another one, between momentary, that which is momentary and definiendum of impermanent, and definiendum of that which is momentary. Okay? Between that which is momentary and definiendum of that which is momentary. Yeah? Okay? Between definition of impermanent and pot. Definition of impermanent and pot. Yeah? Okay? Then immediately afterwards, between that which is momentary and pot. Yeah? These are the tricky ones. Yeah? Okay? Is that okay? And then between definition of impermanent and definition of functional thing. Yeah? Definition of impermanent and definition of functional thing. And then the last one, between that which is momentary and between that which is able to perform a function. I'll say all of them again. Between the last one, between that, I'll just start from the beginning, yeah? Okay, so the first one is between definiendum of that which is momentary. That which is momentary and definiendum of that which is momentary. Okay, that's the first one. Then the second one is definition of impermanent and pot. Third one is definition of impermanent and definition of functional thing. Other way around? No? Oh, right. That which is momentary and pot. That's right, of course. Yeah? That which is momentary and pot. And then the next one is definition of impermanent and definition of functional thing. And the last one, sorry? No, functional thing. And then the last one is that which is momentary and that which is able to perform a function. Yeah? They're a little disorienting in the beginning, but just run through the questions and ask them. Okay? And then later, when we look at this, it'll make more sense. I hope. Okay? Yes. And we'll do some of it in the afternoon as well. Okay? Yeah. I think it's lunchtime.
Take part follows is permanent.
Yeah?
Take part that follows is not that which is momentary.
Why?
because it is because it's not impermanence.
Because it's not impermanent. No vision.
I have to think about it.
Why don't we put the what we just saw about the non-associated factor?
Why do we put what?
Why? Because it's impermanent and
So
I don't know if I've understood what you're thinking, but the problem that arose before with impermanent being a non-associated compositional factor will become clearer if you understand how to answer with definition and definiendo. It's very helpful in that sense, okay? Yeah, can we'll do the dedication?
Duzum shepega matam sheki, goa